My name is Bryce. I'm one of the co-founders of AfterFlow. Today's video is going to cover the foundation of retention marketing, which is your email flows. So these are automated emails that fire out based on some sort of behavior somebody takes on your site. We're going to go over where they fit into your system, what flows you actually need, and the most important things for high-ticket brands to do to see success. So to start off here, some quick results just to kind of show what a dialed-in system can do. So we have an 8-figure brand here who asked us to blow out the numbers, but they were able to hit 73% of their total revenue from email and increase their total revenue versus last year 29%. So what makes flows important? So these are going to generate predictable revenue each month, given that the traffic is similar, and this is going to put way less pressure on your campaign. So if you miss a day or there's just poor performance for whatever reason, the flows are still going to be firing in the background and kind of picking up the slack from there. And this gives you that peace of mind knowing you're not letting revenue slip through your system. And then where flows fit into your retention system. So this quick diagram kind of shows what's going on. Basically, you have your paid ads or any other channel that's sending people to your website, which leads them to take some sort of action, and from there they'll be filtered into the appropriate flow based on that specific behavior. And then from there, ideally, they're going to be guided to make that purchasing decision. Hopefully they do make that purchase, and then they're put into a few more flows, and this whole cycle kind of just keeps repeating from there. So what flows do you actually need? These are the 7 core flows that are going to drive 80% of the results. There's tons of different stuff you can do with automations, but these really are the ones that are going to move the needle the most. So we have our welcome flow, which educates and nurtures subscribers, the site abandon for people who visit the site but don't end up viewing a product, and then the browse abandon for people who view a product but don't go any further, and then the cart and checkout abandon. So one key note here is that these are 2 different triggers inside your email provider. A lot of times when we audit brands, they only have the checkout flow set up, so making sure that you have both, because there's a ton of high intent purchasers abandoning carts, so just making sure you have both of those. The last 2, we have the post-purchase, so this just encourages people to leave a review, helps them with the product to help your customer support team, and then it also encourages upsells. Last one here is the win-back flow, which is going to encourage people who bought previously to come back and shop again if they're interested. And then moving into the keys for high ticket. So the first one is longer buying windows. So we want to reflect this into our flows with extended timeframes. For example, a water bottle might take like 5 days to get all the information somebody needs. A high ticket product, it could be turning that flow into a 2-week or a 3-week time period, just spacing it out a little bit. Next one is using support as a conversion asset. So this is a huge one. If you have a support team, people always have tons of questions. So making it as easy as possible and always redirecting in emails to that support team. One thing for Shop Solar we've tested is leading with a call now button versus that shop now. And from what we see on average, we'll see less clicks, but we'll see much more conversions. So that's a really interesting test you can run if it's applicable for your brand. And the last one is just that customers needs tons of information to feel confident. So knowing that in the flows, adding as many emails as you need to address all the objections and concerns. And then like we said before, just making it easy to get answers. And then where we see brands go wrong. So this is pretty consistent across all of e-commerce, but the number one thing is going to be setting flows and forgetting. This is very painful to watch because it's such a high leverage thing to set it up once and then have it fire out automatically. So that is the number one thing. The next is focusing on complexity instead of nailing the basics. So always focusing on those 7 core flows the most, just because they're driving all the results. With Shop Solar, we have about 30 flows live in the 10 months that we've been working with them, but 80% of our time is still spent trying to nail the basics in those core flows. And then the last one is neglecting analytics and testing. I understand how challenging this can be if there's no specific person or team on email, but it's really difficult to make sound decisions without knowing what exactly why something's working or why it's not working. And then last thing here is just optimizing. How do you keep improving? So you're able to create split tests in your flows. I'd recommend doing this every month, just setting them and then picking the winners and adjusting from there. And the other thing you can do is use your campaign split test. So you can get immediate feedback, which you can use that information and feed it into your flows. Or if you have an awesome campaign, you can take the full email and just throw that entirely into a flow that makes sense. That is all for today. Hopefully you got something valuable from this. If you are a high ticket brand who would like help with your retention marketing, we do offer free consultation calls to qualified brands. So feel free to click the link in the description to learn more about that.